Welcome to another episode of Full of Fail Army. I am your loving host, Elliot Red Rogers. We are coming at you, not live, but relatively close to almost damn near being live, with this most joyous, momentous bollocks holiday that is right around the corner. For those of you who are willing to open up your hearts, to to the Rothschild, to Hallmark. Yeah. For those of you willing to do all that, someone will hopefully open their hearts to you, or depending on who you are and you know how much they like you, they might open up something else or two. Anyway, so we have some stuff to get into. We used to, we had a video that wanted to come out last week, but we then realized while we were trying to edit in some awesome stuff that we cannot do that because our wallets apparently do not like to open up and are living back in 2009, along with the software we're running in terms of editing, which is not awesome to admit. But we've said it before, we're independent and we're broke. So, we're going to try to keep, the love train rolling. And we're going to also check in with Conky for weather and sport. Hey, Conky, are you in the house, mate? Hey, what's up, brother?
Just go and sit and spin.
Ooh.
No one wants to hear you talk.
Okay. Well, that was,
Window liquor.
Alright, that was entirely uncalled for. I swear I had something for this. Hold on. Hey, okay, so, if you remember, we used to do sort of news bit articles, and we actually quite missed that because we like spreading the word, the good word of gaming, the gaming gospel, the GG, God damn it, the GGG, there it is. So, we're going to get right back into it, and we have some awesome news articles that we think you would like to know. And again, we are now covering all gaming. Oh shit, that's right, we never even told you. So, that video that we wanted to do last week was sort of our program changes. And while this channel originally started out for all things VR, it's now moving to all things gaming, because we love gaming. Gaming is great on all platforms, all consoles, bollocks, with mobile. Sorry, I've caught a bit of sniffle here, it's flu season. No, we're not going to mention that. Anyway, so, now, not just with the news, but also with some of our gaming, with some of our streaming that we'd like to try to do, because we normally just record and edit and show later, we will be getting into some awesome gaming on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. We would do Nintendo, but they have this finicky habit of messing with, and I mean completely destroying the lives of anyone who wants to try to stream Nintendo software. So, that's not going to happen. Anyway. So, that means the likes of things like, more MMOs, some MOBAs, some, Battle Royale titles. We've got interesting things both on and off PC Master Race. We have some awesome exclusives for Xbox as well as PlayStation. We're going to be replaying titles like Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead 2, just for pure shits and giggles and awesome narration by yours truly. And of course, Conky will be kicking in his weather and sports. Yeah. Anyway, so news. Ew, oh, I'm a spring from a bush, a twig in a bush. No berries, just a twig. Wait, no, me. Yes, my right leg is sufficiently armored. I'm ready to take on the Communist Party. No, I'm ready to take on no, shit. Hello, red lads. A small bag, eh? You sound like my last girlfriend. What is that? The voices in my head, they are real after all. So, I'm, trying to escape the darkness. That's what it's called. And no, I am not running from Charlie or Eddie Murphy. It is actually called the darkness in this game. Canned sardines. Just like mother used to make. She can't. My mother canned sardines? You don't know. You don't know. I got the VD. Sorry. I got the Valentine's Day thing upon me. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh! I'm gonna die! I'm gonna die! I'll virgin and stuff. Yes, I died. I died a virgin. By that I means I didn't get any kills. Shut up, you don't know. You don't know. Okay, so let's get right into it. At the top of our news list is something we find quite cheeky and made us giggle. So, Activ Blizzard, or Activision Blizzard for you Yanks across the pond, apparently pulled their entire game library from Nvidia's GeForce streaming service. I want to say GeForce Now is what it's called. And this is funny because it's 1 week after launch. I want to say the GeForce streaming just came out of beta last week, and here we are 1 week later. Activ Blizzard is like, no. Ours, mine, ours, which is fine. I'm actually happy that it happened this way because it seems like GeForce is making great leaps and bounds to improve its relationship and its, products. While Activ Blizzard, or at least definitely the Blizzard part of that, seems to be out in the cold? Yeah, that's right, I went there. And taking giant leaps and bounds backwards. I'm looking squarely at you, Diablo Immortal, you trash, you absolute... Anyway, so... this was at Blizzard's behest, a direct request by them, apparently, because they are, and I'm actually quoting here, they are constantly or interested and looking at how Stadia is doing, and I'm just... You can see where the decisions are headed, and whoever's making those decisions... Also in the news is a bit of a few things, actually, from AAA publisher Ubisoft. That's right, so first on the agenda is apparently there's been a lot of hype and wonder about what they are planning to reboot. They themselves specified but not really hinted at what was going to be rebooted, and it seems we have found out. A lot of people said it was going to be Splinter Cell, which actually I was kind of hoping for, but no. But it doesn't mean it still can't happen. But they decided instead to push forth a Prince of Persia. Now, don't get your hopes up too high, because this is the Prince of Persia Escape Room. So, the people who have played the Ubisoft Escape Rooms before, the last two, which were set in the, I want to say, Assassin's Creed universe, all say that it's great, but it's more to be viewed and less to be played. The puzzles aren't really puzzles as opposed to like, oh, walk from here to there. Congratulations! You solved this puzzle! Move on to the next area. Something like that. Anyway, so they resurrected Prince of Persia, excuse me. I'm just coming over a sniffle. The VR escape room is it's called the Dagger of Time, and it's about 2 to 4 players, just like any other escape room, where you all cooperatively try to solve puzzles to get the hell out of that room or rooms, area, location, what have you, under a certain time limit. This is situated in the 2004 Prince of Persia Warrior Within, so this is definitely out of time. You see what I... anyway. Alright. And if you remember, actually, I do remember that title, there was the Fortress of Time, which was a grand, imposing structure, so now we get to go in and fiddle about and look at all the stuff and go, ooh, it's shiny! Because supposedly you'd be using still, like, the Time Dagger or whatever, to reshape stuff, to do stuff. There's stuff. There's a lot of stuff involved. It's very involved. And, yeah. Blah. Also, sorry, from Ubisoft is a bit of news, interestingly enough, about The Division 2. Now, I only say this is interesting enough because it apparently obvious that they are waiting till the very last moment, and we're talking a last-ditch effort here, in hopes of revitalizing, and indeed restructuring the entire game to try to get its user base up. Why they didn't think of this beforehand, I want to look squarely at you, Breakpoint. Thank you. Anyway, so basically they're revealing that there's going to be a new expansion called Warlords of New York, which the name sounds interesting enough. And for those of you Year Pass 1 holders, it starts on February 12th, which was actually, I want to say yesterday. I don't know if we're going to get this video out on time. Anyway, and then it'll be available on the 19th for the rest of you sods. Then, after, it's just 2 missions across Coney Island, but on March 3rd, at a whopping $30, it adds a new downtown Manhattan area, you know, from Wall Street to Chinatown. You're also looking for the antagonist, Aaron Keener from The Division 1, that rogue agent, that twat who started it all. So hopefully you find and curb check his butt back into oblivion. Also, immediately after that, they announced a gigantic overhaul and sort of like seasonal changes and updates. So we're talking about, more collectibles, more outfits, I should say, different gear sets and weapons that are, limited time only. Basically changing the format to like what Destiny, Diablo, and other games who had a strong showing at first and then gradually losing the player base, and in an effort to keep it fresh. Hopefully they diverted talent back into this after the alarming disappointment thanks to Breakpoint. I mean, honestly, if you did play Breakpoint, it's just like single player Division 2, so they should have just rolled that into an expansion if you ask me, but no one's asking me. No. Okay, so we are switching gears here to the VR section of the news. There is a very interesting title called, it's a survival horror title in VR called The Radius. Now, the reason why this is so interesting is because this is of Stalker fame. Now, for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, me and your mother will need to talk about this and dish out a punishment fitting for an idiot like you. No, I'm sorry, that's very harsh to say, but the entire mythos, in fact, the word stalker was actually added to the dictionary across the pond, here in Russia. Not here, but anyway, based very closely to what was it called? A picnic, a roadside picnic. My God, I almost forgot the name. Which has a huge cult following. There's been a lot of stuff that's been based very closely and loosely off of its lore. Basically, the gist is after a 2 or 4 day period. I want to say just 2. Sorry. I'm sick. I'm on medication. Shut up. Basically, there's been UFO extraterrestrial visitation on planet Earth in various locations over a few short day period with no explanation. It's not like they rolled out the red carpet, they didn't attack, but they came and left. However, this did not stop it or them from changing the entire dynamics of, planet Earth, or whatever you want to call it. It alters the state of physics, everything from, DNA to black matter to, it's crazy. It's really, really good. And again, if you know the Stalker series, just check it out, man. Google it. It's there. That's what Google's for. Anyway, The Radius will drop on Oculus first on February 13th. Again, this is an open world horror. They said survival horror, so I'm hoping open world survival horror, again, inspired by The Roadside Picnic. This has, again, high content or origins based on like the Stalker genre, that type of gameplay of getting into an anomaly or an anomalous zone, either investigating or, more importantly, trying to find very powerful or mysterious artifacts and getting out alive. However, I want to say in this case, in this game, the Radius, I think you're part of like a UN team that is accidentally trapped in one of the anomalous zones, and you said, well, shit, I'm here, might as well investigate, and we'll see how that pans out. Either way, it sounds bloody interesting. Okay, so we are switching gears here. So this is still on the VR kick, but this has to do with Xbox and Phil Spencer specifically, because if any of you paid attention to the game news, Phil Spencer had the brass cojones to apparently come out and say that Nintendo, more importantly Sony, is not in a position to compete with Xbox. And judging by worldwide sales on all three platforms, I agree with him. Because Xbox is doing so bad that they have to move to a different, lower echelon, so where they feel like they can compete. Because when you're being taken over by Nintendo, whose system was out even less time than yours, it's called rebranding. It's a rebranding or remarketing ploy, which is fine. And then he had to go and adjust his statements that he made prior to that statement about VR players, which apparently he might have pissed off quite a few, because he said that it's not a thing no one's asking for, which we all know is bollocks, because if any of you followed the trend on Half-Life's Alyx pre-orders and what it did for the index, oh my god. He obviously shot himself again in the foot, and the people at Microsoft headquarters is like, dude, what the hell are you doing? Anyway, I can't, basically, he has to change course, or I should say correct his course, by saying that Xbox had no plans to support at launch, which of course we all know, and probably not ever at all. But then he goes on to say that he one day hopes it will be a no-brainer. Because it wasn't, like, important when it first dropped on the scene. It wasn't important when games like Superhot came out. It wasn't important when they announced the Valve Index. No, it was only important when the next consoles were coming out and everyone, including Nintendo, had some sort of VR. And you were like, nah, no one's asking for it. In other words, we don't care. And he actually goes on in the article to sort of correct, saying, we did not mean to offend the VR people. Well, you did. You did. Yeah, you there, with the shiny big house and the indifference and, you know, moral inferiority complex. You twat! Okay, so also while on the kick related to Half-Life, Steam apparently made an awesome announcement to where Valve, sorry, not Steam, but Valve, shut up. Valve plans to launch Steam VR 2.0 in 2020. Now, this has to do with, I want to say, a lot of deciding factors. Mainly that the open software platform that they were using the plugin, which was changed very, very recently, and they were, making a very quick fix for. Of course, they needed to close a loophole on something like that, add better features instead of just a big screen functionality. I also imagine that this is their, like, reimagining. I imagine they reimagine shit. The reimagination for Steam VR. Because of Half-Life Alyx and the amazing, unprecedented success and pre-orders and buyout subsequently of the headset unit, the Index I'm talking about. I mean, it blew everyone away. And it basically solidified in a lot of people's minds that VR is here to stay. Yes, people are asking for it, Mr. Spencer. If they weren't, then there wouldn't be all these pop-up VR places, locales like The Void and whatnot, that are doing amazingly well. And if you bothered to take your head out of your... Anyway... Valve plans to launch Steam VR 2.0 by the end of 2020, so my assumption here is that it's going to be like right on the day of, or probably before Half-Life Alyx, which is actually still really close. So let's see, and if not, well, it's fine, because if it happens by the end of the year, they're still doing better than Xbox. But of course, we shouldn't be worried, because, Steam and whatnot, it's not in a position to compete with the likes of mighty Xbox, right? Okay, switching gears very subtly here, we're now going to talk about Sony. So, Dreams, the Dreams game, which just came out of early access, it will be available, I want to say, on the 14th for those who were not a founder. Now, I cannot even really call this a game. It is more of a game-building application, and it is insanely unique and awesome. Just, Google the showcase video, or just check it out. It is brilliant. There was a real-life animatronic puppet handler who made an entire puppet show. People have remade games. I even saw like a Metal Gear Solid like remake. I mean, you're only limited by your own imagination. And the best part about this, since it's done by Media Molecule, just like Little Big Planet, you can take what other people made and build off of it. You know, fair use, baby, fair use for all. And I mean, the things that have come out of it, there was like the Demon Kaiju game, whatever, you know, Baby Kaiju, whatever. It was breathtaking. It looked like a fully fledged game. Some of the stuff in here is just bonkers. I mean, if you wanted to make art, you make art. If you wanted to make music. Sorry, I'm joking, John. This has to do with VR. So we all knew that there was going to be a VR component, even though it was never really publicly announced. But if you saw some of the videos firsthand, it was obvious the way that they were looking around that it was, you know, a VR unit. So they did state that while it will not be available at launch, the PSVR component will be coming in soon, and I personally cannot wait. That's going to blow the doors off and make room for a lot of people who want to get their vision seen by the world and possibly pick up a job while at it. Very well done, Sony. Very well done. Media Molecule for the... Okay, and more on a somber note, but still dealing with Sony, looks like they closed very recently, or are planning to very soonly close, the Manchester VR studio. Now, this was a studio built, I want to say, like 2015 or somewhere thereabouts, to produce AAA VR content. Now, this is not to be confused with the other UK-based studio that developed Blood and Truth, which is Amazeballs. This Manchester studio has not put out one single title, not a demo, nothing in the 5 years. So yeah, I would kind of consolidate my power efforts, I should say, elsewhere, which is actually what they literally said in their press release. They want to focus on delivering high quality VR titles. So if you just have people twiddling their thumbs about, not really doing anything, maybe playing some football in the hallway, whatnot, yeah, send them somewhere else, you know. I mean, cut them loose. I mean, what the hell? Huh? 5 years. 5 years. I mean, did they have people from, like, id? Not id. I might have just thrown some shade at the wrong people there. 3D Realms? Id? Yeah, yeah. I'm old. I can't remember my gaming history. Wait, where am I?